Good morning, everyone. Wow, that's a great number. Today we have almost 45 participants with us. And the topic that we have chosen, it's a growth mindset, building sustainable habits that stick. And I believe there was no better way to start our year with the topics like that, because I think most of us we tend to make lots of like New Year resolutions. By the end of the year, we think, okay, we kind of reflect, okay, I'm gonna, change this habit, I'm gonna build this habit. These are the goals for my new year. So I think to talk about this, this is the best topic. So, in today's session, what you can expect, how we form our habits, what are the habits, how we can really, stick to it, because we tend to make so many habits, but then consistency is the biggest problem. Many times we decide so many things, but then procrastination keeps on happening. Many times we want to do lots of things, but then our schedule doesn't really allow us, and we learn how we can really build small chunks of new habits and we can sustain it. My name is Iranaim and I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm also the founder of Mir Psychiatry Clinic. Mir Psychiatry Clinic is a very new facility in Dubai. However, I'm not very new in Dubai. I've been in Dubai almost 11 years. Some of you might have seen me with different hospitals before in few sessions. I was with the American Hospital for 4 or 5 years. I was with Novomed Hospital, and now this year I decided to open my own facility. Wow, the number of participants are increasing. We have 131 people. And I think out of this session, out of 131 people, even if 10 of you will be able to like kind of benefit from this, it will be very much amazing. Wow. Thank you so much everyone for being here. I was talking about myself. I'm a clinical psychologist. My specializations is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, also a trauma therapy, which is EMDR. And I work mainly with the PTSD, depression, anxiety, borderline disorder, bipolar disorder. At Mir Psychiatric Clinic, we cater all sort of challenges which are any sort of psychological difficulties. We do provide medication management, we do provide psychotherapy, and the sessions can be online, sessions can be in person, and there are some other facilities that we have, which I'll be talking at the end of the presentation. So far, these are the people on team. Dr. Nail Mustafa, he is a consultant psychiatrist, and that's me, Ra. All our professionals are DHA licensed. Purpose of Mir Clinic is definitely to spread more awareness about mental health, to prevent any sort of mental health challenges that we can. If anyone of you is going through something, or if you know someone who is going through something, definitely please feel free to kind of contact Mir Clinic. Why this session has been conducted by, by your companies or by your employer? Because there is a lot of research, and we have seen it a lot. Work is a big part of our life. We spend 8 9 hours at work, and many times we go home and still we are not able to switch off from our work responsibilities. So what research data has gathered, 1 out of 4 employees, they experience stress and burnout annually. And obviously stress not only affect your health, but it also cost a lot to companies in terms of productivity globally. So, and stress, where does it come from? I think it comes from our unproductive habits. It comes from the habits that are really not serving us in any way. but still it's there, and at the end we are not able to kind of do or meet our goals, and then slowly it becomes a stress and becomes, and stress develops into anxiety, anxiety develops into depression. And that's the reason today we are going to talk about all about habits. And when it comes to habits, why habits are formed, why and how they are formed, how we are not able to kind of change if we want to change something from our life. So let's start with the one thing is, I am sure, I mean, I was also used to be there. I'm still there. There are many things that I want to change from my life, and then there are many things that I want to build new habits. For example, from my life experience, and I have seen in most of the clients, by end of the year and beginning of each year, I think we all decide one thing that's very common between all of us is, I want to be more active with the gym. I want to go to the gym. I want to be more physically active. I want to work on my body. I want to eat healthy. I think that's something is a very universal goal we all have. And each year beginning, we all are very excited, but then somehow during the year something happens, and then we just don't really, we are not very consistent with it. So we want to understand that how does this work. Now when it comes to habits, I always say one thing to students who come to me for counseling, or parents who are really much very kind of concerned about the gradings of their children's schooling, or their results. I always say, and I believe, schooling is something that we go when we are children. We go to school because we are building the habit to be getting up in the morning, having this routine, and then having a habit of a purpose, looking forward to something, and then building the habit of going somewhere, socializing, building the habit of being able to receive those deadlines and some task and um, some goals we have throughout the school day, and then the habit of being able to handle the accountability to deliver those tasks. And that's why we go to school. So we can socialize and we can build a habit throughout to be much more disciplined, and how to kind of align ourselves within the authority. And that's how habits are born. Most of the time, habits are built throughout our childhood. From our childhood until 8 years are very much important for any human being or for any person to build and form those habits. And you'll see the kind of habits we had, they kind of stay with us. Now, many of the habits, they become a part of our personality, and many of the habits we feel they are not really serving us in a very good way. So what we do, we want to change it. Now we want to change it, so many habits we want to change it, but what's the difficulty to change it? Now let's talk about that. Whenever it comes to building new habits or changing new habits, there are two factors that's very important. The first factor is growth mindset, and the second factor is a fixed mindset, because the way we perceive, the way we think about any habit is going to be determined by what kind of mindset we have. Now, growth mindset we have is a belief that intelligence and abilities and habits can be developed through effort, strategy, and learning. Usually, people with a growth mindset, they view setbacks as temporary and see feedback as information rather than criticism. Now, many of us, we have a very fixed mindset. Fixed mindset is a belief that intelligence, habits, and talents are static, leads to avoiding challenges, giving up easily, and feeling threatened by others' success. Okay. Now, the same example, I think throughout our session, I'm going to use the same example of our desire to be more regular and consistent with our physical health and going to the gym. Now, growth mindset is, yes, I think I have never been a very athletic or a physically active person throughout my life, but I can do it. But the other person will be thinking, it has always been a challenge for me. I have done it many times in the past. It just doesn't work. I have never been athletic. Most of my life, I was always into books or into tasks. I was never good with going to the gym. So then it's just gonna drain us. But the reality is, it's never too late. It's never ever late to build any habit. We can build any habit at any stage of our life. And this is what we call neuroplasticity. For example, whatever way we're gonna train our brain is gonna be shaped in the same way. For example, if we tend to be negative, 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 the neural pathways that are kind of dealing with the negativity or the negative electric impulses in our brain are gonna build the neural pathways accordingly. So we will be more negative. Another example can be many people, they are very good with mathematics because they keep on practicing maths, 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 and now they are very good with maths because neuroplasticity and our neural pathways somehow are designed accordingly. The mathematical part of our brain is much more activated. So what happens, the literature part or the verbal part or let's say linguistic part is less active to in the brains of people who are more active with mathematics. So whatever we're gonna practice every day, our brain is going to build the pathways accordingly. So neuroplasticity is possible at any age of our life. However, I'm going to be very honest with you guys. When we are children, until we are 21, from birth until 21, it's much more flexible. It's much more easier because still our brain is in a process of maturing. But once we cross the age of 21, it's not impossible, but it's much more difficult. Many of you might not like the word difficult, but it is difficult. Why I say difficulty? Because then we need much more effort to kind of sustain any habit. We cannot be like, because imagine a child who's gonna go and learn ski, who's like a 7 years old, comparative to the person who is 45 years old and want to learn ski. There will be a huge difference in the timeline in which they will become expert in skiing. So it's not impossible, but it requires much more effort. What happened with my... I'm sorry, there is a bit of... Okay. Okay. Sorry for that. So we were talking about two mindset. One mindset is a growth mindset, another one is fixed mindset. Now, fixed mindset is not at all going to serve us if we wanna build any new habit. But growth mindset, the kind of belief, having this hope, having this optimism attitude that I can do anything I want. Yes, it might be challenging, but it's not impossible. What are the benefits of that kind of mindset is it encourages us to lifelong learn because we can learn at any stage of our life. Even when we are 40s, in our 40s, 50s, 70s, we can always learn because there is so much in the world that I don't think so because we all are expert into one subject matter, but there is so much more that we can learn throughout our life. Then if we have that attitude that I'm not old, I can learn anything at any stage of my life, this will actually increase our motivation, and increased motivation will definitely increase our performance and greater life satisfaction. We'll feel good with our life. Growth mindset also buffers the stress and promotes adaptive emotional regulations. Growth mindset also, there is like a so much studies about it. Brain imaging studies show that growth mindset activates regions involved in error monitoring and learning. Now, anytime you feel like I have this attitude, I am very optimistic, I can do it. It actually is a neuroplasticity that is being activated in our brain. Now, habits, how habits are formed. Let's talk about like when we are children, we don't have much kind of control over our day. Usually our parents are there, our elders are there to kind of guide us through. We get up, we shower, we brush our teeth, and then we get ready, we have a breakfast, we go to school. But now once we are adult, we have a whole control throughout our day, whatever we do. And habits are the chunks throughout the day. If you see, your whole day is a combination of our small habits that we have throughout the day. For example, what time do you wake up? Habit of even we set alarm. Many people, they wake up and they get up from the bed on the first alarm. But many people, they keep snoozing. That is also a habit. Now, after that alarm, how we get ready, what kind of breakfast we want to have, even the type of food we eat and the type of food that satisfies us is also a habit. Most of us are very much kind of feel satisfied with the food taste only when we eat our very traditional and homemade food, because throughout our childhood, that's what we are used to of eating. Now when we are adults, and now I know that for me eating a lot of biryani is not going to help me, or with my body or with my physical health. Now I want to build a new habit of eating different than biryani, but then it's going to take a lot of time and a lot of consistency. Now I want to build that, new habit. I'm an adult, the whole control is in my hand. How I'm going to do that. So there are four factors that's very much important. For example, I have a goal that every morning I want to meditate. Maybe I want to take 5 minutes of silence where I meditate, or maybe take deep breaths. So I'm not used to it. How I can build this habit? There is a one term, it's called habit stacking. Habit stacking is the moment I know that I finish my brush, I finish my skincare, right after my skincare, I'm gonna sit and do 5 minutes of meditation. So it's a stack, because skincare for me, I mean, I have to put a sunblock every day on my face. So right after sunblock, the next step is going to be for me is 5 minutes of deep breaths. Another factor that's going to help us to build a habit is design your environment. Now, my goal in the morning is when I get up, I freshen up, I do 5 minutes of meditation, I have a coffee, and now I want to go to the gym. I want to go to the gym, but what will really help me to kind of have that motivation in the morning, if the night before I had already prepared my gym clothes and they are sitting right next to me on the couch. So when I get up and I'm there sitting on my couch and I'm doing this 5 minutes of meditation, I see my gym clothes. So looking at those gym clothes is really going to help me, because that's a cue, is going to help me to kind of have that motivation. All right, I'm going to go to the gym. Another factor is start small. Start small means I cannot really have this goal of like every day I'm gonna sit and half an hour do meditation, because half an hour of meditation, it requires a lot of commitment, time, a lot of kind of presence in the moment. Only then I'll be able to do like half an hour of meditation. So I am going to start maybe with 5 minutes, maybe with 1 minute. So always start small. The most important factor is reward and celebrate. Now, reward and celebrate is I have established this routine. Right after I freshen up, I'm going to do 5 minutes of meditation. So, after that 5 minutes of meditation, how I'm going to reward myself? For me, usually my reward is I'm always in between kind of should I have a latte or should I have a black coffee? Because there is a huge difference in like kind of calories. People who are allergic or kind of very difficult to kind of digest dairy, black coffee prefers. So I'm one of that persons, but then I wanna enjoy latte also. So here and there I will reward myself with latte and I celebrate that, oh, today I was able to do that. And the celebration doesn't have to be like a big popping balloons and parties, but it can be saying something good to yourself and smiling. Wow, I did 5 minutes of meditation today. So these are the factors that really, really help us to build new habits. And you have to understand, many times maybe you guys have read somewhere or have seen somewhere, it take 21 days to kind of build new habit. Actually, now the recent research, it shows that it takes 40 days to break a habit, 90 days to gain the new habit, and 120 days that you are that habit. Just becomes a part of our routine. And 1000 days, you are master of it. Now, many people, what happens is we start something new. For example, meditation. Then what will happen? There is no consistency. I'll do maybe 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 1 week, and then something happens and then I don't repeat it. So that's gonna be a huge difficulty for us to kind of make it a habit, because it will still feel like a task but not a habit. Because right now, if you see, there are many things that we do throughout our day that do not feel like a task. For example, getting up and freshen up. That's not a task, it's just a habit, because we have been doing it for most of our life. So to build any new habit, we have to be consistent. Now here comes the biggest discussion and the purpose of this session. Because most of us want to build new habits and break the old habits. But the problem comes is consistency. The problem comes that somehow that motivation is not there. Somehow procrastination is happening. And procrastination is the biggest takeaway that you should be taking from this session today. Now, many people are like, I want to do this, but then I just did not do it. I kept delaying it. I was not able to do it. I was there, but just procrastination was happening. Procrastination is a delay. I know I am gonna do it, but I'll keep on delaying it. For example, um, now your inbox is full with so many emails, or one email is very specific, that in the morning, you have seen, okay, I need to reply this email, but what will happen? You will keep on delaying replying to that email. You need to understand that procrastination is not being lazy. Procrastination comes out of anxiety. Procrastination comes because whatever the task we are supposed to do actually gives us stress, gives us some negative feeling, and gives us anxiety because we are not sure about it. Okay. For example, that email that you have to reply to your manager, you are actually afraid of the results that's going to come out of that reply. You are actually stressed about, is it good enough or it's not good enough? Do I really know what I'm going to talk about or no? So procrastination basically comes from anxiety. It does not come from you being lazy. And the more and more we're going to procrastinate, you will always see internally there will be a pressure. Your heart will always be heavy. Your chest will always be heavy because in the background, you know that I want to do it, but you just somehow didn't do it. So the guilt and the shame and self criticism will be there. And the more and more you're gonna procrastinate, the more these negative feelings are going to be more collection of it, and it's going to contribute to more procrastination. Most of the time we do procrastination because we just want to do that task perfectly, because I'm very perfectionist, so I want this to be this way. For example, if I want to do meditation, I have maybe this idea, this monk or a person who's sitting, who seems to be very calm, whose environment is very calm. There is a perfect music, there is like a perfect environment and a lighting, and only then I'll meditate. Meditation doesn't have to be that way. Meditation, or let's say even 5 minutes of moments of calm or silence, it can be done at any day, any point of your day, or in any sort of environment. I can sit on my couch. It doesn't have to be a specific position of like a monk. I can sit even now and I can take a deep breath, close my eyes and take a deep breath. But the idea of environment I have, it's kind of making me procrastinated. Now I go to the gym. I'm going to the gym like for 2 3 days, but I don't see any difference, and I'll be like, I'm not making progress. And anyways, I don't like my body, so I'm gonna have procrastinate, keep procrastinating, because I am going to the gym, but maybe I was not able to uh, carry the weight that other people are doing. Maybe I was not able to lift like other people. Maybe I went to the gym, but I came back home and I ate a meal that is full of carbs. So now what I see that the habits are not really, the kind of tasks are not really aligning with each other. So I'm gonna be hard on myself. I'll be like, what's the point of going to the gym if I'm gonna come home and eat a meal that's full of carbs? And this is basically kinda is the reason for us to not being able to build that habit, because either we want to be perfect, either we have like so much anxiety and stress associated with it that we end up procrastinating. Many people, if you see, they don't go to the gym because they don't want other people to look at them. They don't want to go to the gym because um, what other people will think. They think that they will not be able to do it. So there are so many negative self talk we have that we keep on procrastinating something. So procrastination is not being lazy, it's about anxiety and stress related to that task. Now, how we can overcome the procrastination? As we spoke about, adopt a compassionate mindset. For example, if you went to the gym but you came back home and you had a meal that you enjoyed, kinda don't be hard on yourself. Don't use that negative, self-criticism or negative talk. Maybe kinda, show some compassion that, and enjoy it, and celebrate it that I was able to do that. I went there. Second most important part, I think most of you know, is time management, is how you are going to design your day. Most of the people that who come to therapy, or even your colleagues or even yourself, ask yourself this question: why don't I go to the gym? So the answer is, I don't have time. Majority of the people have this answer: I don't have time. But our time is our time. We need to know how I'm gonna design and prioritize the things throughout my day. Yes, we have traffic. Yes, we have to drop our kids. Yes, we have 9 or maybe 10 hours of work shift. But still, how you are going to achieve that goal or to build that habit is 100% is in your hand, because we are adults and we have a full uh, freedom how we design our day. Even if you are designing your day around work, at the end it's your decision. You are the one who's doing it. Minimize distractions. Most of the time we have lots of distractions, and lots of distractions, what I mean, procrastination happens. I got up, I freshen up, I'm having a breakfast, but then I'll just pick up my phone and I'll just go maybe on social media or maybe notifications or work emails. This is where I received this work email. It's early morning. So this work email, something that I'm not happy about, is going to bring me a negative feeling. And that negative feeling and distraction is not going to motivate me to go to the gym. Next is reward progress. Any sort of small change that you have done throughout your day, just be mindful about it and reward yourself. Reward doesn't have to be something financial or materialistic. It can be even saying a good thing about yourself. Next and most important part is challenge perfectionism. Every time there is a setback, every time there is like you have a so much long list to change so many things throughout your day, and out of those 10 things you are able to do 4 things and not being able to do 6 things because you had other things to do. Just be good with yourself, not to be negative that oh my god I was not able to do this. Kindly look at what you were able to do. Another big reason after perfectionism or procrastination is overcommitment. Now, I always even ask myself this question. I'm a human being who needs at least 7 hours of sleep to function, who needs to work maybe 8 to 9 hours or 10 hours, who needs also 3 to 4 hours with my family. But I have a day which is only 24 hours. Okay, I wish maybe the day was more hours so I could have like, more things on my schedule. But the fact that day is only 24 hours, I have to sleep, I have to work, I have to give time to my relations and my family. I also have to do self-care. I need to take care of my body. I need to take care of my mind. There is so much. So we really need to see what do we have throughout the day. Am I overcommitting? Because if you see, most of us tend to overcommit. And the overcommitment is not only with work. I think we do overcommit with our relationships also. And we overcommit with the expectations we have from ourselves in terms of self-care and in terms of our own goals. For example, maybe I made a resolution in the first 3 quarters of this year, I'm gonna learn tennis, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna learn swimming, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. That's an overcommitment. So I think when it comes to building any sort of habit, you have to see realistically, these are the 24 hours and that's the timeline I have. Am I overcommitting? Most of your employers and your managers might not be happy with what I'm saying, but do not commit overly that you cannot deliver. We are not supernatural human beings. I'm not a robot. We are human beings who need a lot of silence space also to be able to kind of continue functioning. And any times you want to know, are you overcommitting? Ask yourself this question. You can understand if you're overcommitting by your inability to disconnect, which means that all the time you have thoughts either about your fiance or your child or your uncle, aunt or your manager or your email or your work. All the time you have some thoughts running throughout your head throughout the day and you're not able to disconnect. You have this physical exhaustion. Always you are tired, irritated, and most of the time you're sacrificing your personal time. For example, I can procrastinate and I can ignore going to the gym, but I can't ignore maybe showing up to maybe a family event or for a friend or for a meeting. Again, another sign is you tie your self-worth with performance. Depends the kind of values or comments you're going to receive from your manager. is gonna help you to feel good about yourself rather than you using those positive words for yourself. And constant worry about failure. These are the signs you can ask yourself and understand if you are overcommitting. Because overcommitment is always going to overwhelm you and make you feel more stressed and anxious rather than being overproductive. And overcommitment, as I said, I think we almost all have that tendency to overcommit because we want to please other people. It comes from people pleasing. It comes from I don't have boundaries. I have a fear of judgment from other people. I work in a factor. There is like a at workplace. It's a very toxic work culture because most of the time it's not only us. It's also the people around us. Maybe the work expectations are very unrealistic. Maybe the workload is too much. Maybe the work culture is very toxic. And we have societal pressure. We have economic uncertainty. We have bills to pay. We have so many people that we need to compete with. So if I'm not gonna overcommit, if I'm not gonna over deliver, someone else will take my place. So these all factors are there, but at the end, I would say most of the time, throughout the day, whatever we do is at the end is a result of our own choices. Now, these choices are being forced or these choices are due to so many factors, but at the end, these are our choices. We have to prevent overcommitment by setting boundaries. And now setting boundaries, it cannot be, I cannot say like do not reply or do not do the things that you're supposed to do. But at least a small boundary. And a small boundary can be because, now because we all the time have our email access on our phone, we are never disconnected from work. We are never disconnected from the world because we go on Instagram, we go on Facebook, we go on our work emails. So we never have that personal space. So this boundary is like after maybe 7 p.m. until 6 a.m., I'm not going to check my work emails. Maybe first 2 hours of my day, I'm not going to check notifications, what's happening in the world. So you can have that time to yourself. Prioritize rest and recovery. Sleep is really, really important. If you all, I know we all work in corporate, we all are working so much. I'm also like, in the same boat like all of you. But if you think you can sacrifice your sleep and stay healthy, I think we are living in a bubble. That's not realistic. Because if you don't sleep minimum 6.5 to 7 hours a day, your brain will not be able to recover. So it is slowly, gradually, it's just impacting your brain neural chemistry that at the end results into burnout and stress and anxiety. So you have to prioritize your rest. You have to get a good sleep. After that sleep, whatever hours you have, you figure that out. But you need to sleep. Seek support. Talk openly with managers, HRs, or mental health professionals whenever you feel overwhelmed. Reframe your expectations. Separate professional achievements from personal worth. Most of the time, throughout our childhood, we have learned to kind of associate our worth with our grades, with the ranks, and what kind of achievements we have brought home. So try to kind of reframe it, because when it comes to building good habits and having that motivation and good self-esteem, it comes from the feeling that we have inside, how I feel about myself, not from the validation of other people. Yes, that's important, but it's just a part of our self-esteem. It's not the whole of it. Use well-being tools, monitor signs of overcommitment, and adjust your burnout. Managerial strategies: detect early signals, encourage balance, model healthy behaviors, and provide recognition and feedback. That's for managers, not for the people who report to the managers. Organizational strategies can be designed realistic workload. And I would say all the people who are in charge of kind of giving KPIs and having job responsibilities, you really need to see the expectations or the goals you're giving to the person. For example, if the work shift is 7 hours, kindly give the workload that can be done within 7 hours, that it doesn't have to be prolonged throughout the day or more days. So try to have, try to train your managers and your upper management in a way that you have realistic and flexible expectations from your workers. Again, there are different ways we can prevent overcommitment. We can take small breaks, short breaks. We can have like a rest. We There are so many researches about it that rest is so much important, breaks are so much important, that helps us not to have a burnout. The key takeaways from today's session is, again, ask yourself this question, all of you. What are your New Year resolutions? What were your reflections when you started this year? What do you want to do this year? What kind of habit do you want to build? Then ask yourself, what are the factors kind of that are the hindrance towards building that habit. It can be procrastination, it can be distractions, it can be I don't feel good about it, I have negative feelings about it. It can be I don't have time because I have overcommitted in other areas of my life. So you really have to ask yourself, yes, I want to go to the gym, but what are the factors that are not helping me to build that habit? Yes, I want to meditate, but what are the factors that I'm procrastinating it? Yes, maybe I want to sleep better, but what are the factors? What are the environmental factors and personal factors that are not helping me to build this? Yes, I want to give more time to my family, but why it's happening? So habit can be anything: work habits, personal habits, family habits. So, because our day is a chunk of different small habits throughout our 24 hours. So, yes, the floor is open. You can ask me any question and you can type your question in Q&A section. And before I end, I would like to say one thing. Yes, maybe most of the time we don't have resources and time to seek professional help. But if you think you or anyone you know need help or a psychological support, please talk with each other, open up with someone you trust and you think that they can listen to you. Speak with your manager, speak with your HR, seek professional help. If you don't have resources to seek professional help, at Mir Clinic, every week we organize free of cost support sessions, and those group support sessions are on different topics. You can have a look at them on Instagram, on our website. Also, apart from the free support group, we also organize community reach out. We also have individual employee support resources available. We also have employee well-being packages that usually we organize with your HR. We have in-person psychotherapy available at Mir Clinic. We also have psychiatric medication management available at Mir Psychiatric Clinic. So please feel free to kind of use any sort of resource that you have the availability and you have within your capacity. Thank you so much. And please, all the questions are welcome.
Thank you so much, Ira. That was beautiful.
Thank you, Shivani.
Yes, we are open to taking questions. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put in your questions in the Q&A tab. I am just trying to open the Q&A tab right now, and it's just taking some time.
No worries. There are
Well,
400 people in this session. Oh my
yeah,
God.
that's a great number.
That's huge.
Uh,
Wow.
I still don't have any questions in the Q&A, Ira, but I am receiving a lot of thank yous on the chat box. Okay, I got one question here. How
Okay.
to grow a positive habit?
I think that's a very kind of very general question because first of all, what does it mean by a positive habit? Because maybe something positive that's for you is not positive for me. But when it comes to how to grow a positive habit, anything that you want is to stack it with something else. Now, the positive habit, as we spoke about, it can be I wanna take deep breaths or meditate early morning 5 minutes. But I'm not able to do that because I forget about it, I procrastinate, I get distracted. So, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stack that habit with something already existing habit. Now, my existing habit is I brush my teeth every day. So, right after washing my face and brushing my teeth, the next step that should come is to take deep breaths. So you can stack one positive habit that you're trying to build with already existing positive habit.
Wow, that's a wonderful advice, Ira. I am still receiving a lot of thank yous, by the way.
Thank you so much,
Um,
everyone. I'm very happy. And as I said in the beginning, even out of 400 people, even if four people today will be able to kind of reflect on what are the habits that I'm going to break and what are the habits that I'm going to build, why I'm not able to do that. So maybe like, 5-10 minutes of self-reflection, maybe that's what we all need.
yep. Okay, so in between all the thank you messages, I am receiving one or two questions, but can I please request everyone to put in their questions in the Q&A tab so it doesn't get lost in the chat box. Whatever I can see here, I'm picking that up. So the next question, Ira, is what are the effective ways to manage stress and mental health?
Perfect. That's a very good question. And first of all, Inderjeet, this question at Mir Clinic, every week we run support group. And one of the support group that we run is we talk 1 hour about managing stress and taking care of our mental health. So please feel free to join that. It's free of cost. It's online. You can join from anywhere. And when it comes to managing stress and mental health, I think there is nothing better way to manage stress and take care of our mental health than moving your body physically. And that moving your body doesn't have to be only going to the gym. It can be taking 10 minutes of walk. It can be putting a song and just taking some steps so my body can move. It can be anything shaking your body. But these 10 minutes that once you start doing it, actually you will start to notice yourself. You will start to kind of understand that I need time for myself. And where you realize that I need time for myself, actually you will start to prioritize yourself. You will start to prioritize your health and your day. And gradually, that self awareness, that priority will help you to understand what are the factors that's causing me stress. So it's kind of self respect.
That is great, Ira. Um, the next one is how many days or months will it take to make an activity a habit? I think we did cover this during the session, but
Yes.
if you would like to explain it again.
Yes, we spoke about it. It's usually 90 days to break any previous habit, 120 days to build a new habit, and actually almost a year or something to kind of that it becomes a part of ourselves. So, that previous information we all had, like it takes 21 days to build a habit. Actually, no, it takes more than that. Especially, as I said, if we are 21 years old and above.
Yeah, I believe all of us here are 21 and above.
Yes.
Oh my God,
Yes.
that's new information. All right, moving on to the next one. How does one minimize overcommitment if there's already a benchmark that has been set?
I know, this is a very amazing question. And I think in our session also we spoke about that we overcommit because there is already a benchmark, because there is already certain expectations other people have from us. So I always say one thing, if there is a benchmark that's already been set, does not mean that it's healthy. That does not mean that I need to carry that benchmark throughout my life. Sooner or later, someone has to talk about it and someone has to challenge that benchmark. If that benchmark is not healthy for you, productive for you, or productive for the company, sooner or later somebody has to pay attention, because if it's set already does not mean that it cannot be changed. Yeah, many of the managers will
Well
not
said.
like my answer, but that's how you protect your mental health.
Yeah, that was very well said, Ira. Somebody is asking if we can get a recorded copy. Of course, please, if you need a recorded session, you can always reach out to your HRs and we'll be sharing it with them. Also, we have our YouTube channel where we upload all our recorded sessions. I'll be sharing the YouTube link here shortly. For this particular session, if you could please give us a few days for us to upload the recording on YouTube. Um, I am going down through the chat messages and so many thank yous, Ira.
Thank
A
you
lot of
so
people
much,
are
Shivani.
saying it was very inspiring and very helpful. It was a very gainful session. Or somebody said it'll be grateful if we can get this session 4 times in a year. Sure.
So, we can always have a reminder, okay?
Definitely.
I
I think
wanted
we
to make this
will.
habit, but then reminder, did you do it or no?
Yeah, I believe it's a very important topic. I mean, beginning of the year, all of us, we put so many goals for ourselves, and
Yes, yes,
2 to 3 months down the year, and we keep forgetting and we keep losing interest or motivation. So,
yeah.
yeah, I think we should definitely repeat this session after a
Yeah,
couple of
and please,
months.
everyone, as I said, every week I run support group which are online. You can find the information on Mir Clinic Instagram, Facebook, or website. If you do not have resources and if you don't have time to seek professional help, please join these sessions. And these are kind of group sessions, so you will have the also option to speak about yourself and listen from other people.
So nice. That is a great way to help the community.
Thank you,
Okay,
everyone.
we have few more questions, Ira, if we have time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The next one is something that even I struggle with quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The person says, "How can we say no without guilt, especially in work setting?" That is
Yeah.
so important.
I know, Shivani, and most of us actually, we come from certain cultures and parenting styles, especially our generation, people who are in their 30s and above, where our worth has been associated with the external validation. And somehow we develop this tendency of people pleasing. And people pleasing is, if I will say no, usually we don't feel guilty. I don't think so. When you say no, you feel guilty. Ask yourself, I think you feel afraid, you feel anxious, because whenever we say no, there is a fear associated with, not guilt. Fear of losing that position, fear of losing that person, fear of not being important, fear of not being as included. So it's a fear. First of all, you need to understand what exactly is the feeling that's associated with saying no. So when you say no at work, ask yourself what I'm afraid of. And whatever the answer is, for example, I'm afraid that if I will say no, I will not get promotion. Or if I will say no, my manager will refuse my, I don't know, maybe my break or something will be there. So the following question should be, out of 100, how much this is true what I'm thinking? Okay, so it's not a guilt, it's a fear. So challenge your fear. Okay,
Wow,
Shivan.
I never thought of it this way. This is so true.
Yes.
Okay, we have one more. Actually, we do have a couple of more questions, and but we still have some time to wrap up this session. At least
Yes.
5 minutes we do have. Okay, most of the time it happens that I take a habit and follow seriously for a couple of months, but then some urgent work, could be professional or personal, which breaks the habit for 15-20 days, and now it becomes difficult to regain the habit. What do we
Mhm.
do in that case?
Okay, I think the question is from Raghavendra. Yeah. Raghav, I would say um, you really need to understand yourself. Are you perfectionist? Because when you say I take it very serious, because it's not possible that we try to build a habit and then you have to be 100% perfect with that, you know. So if you have been trying to follow that habit and a gap comes, it's always difficult to go back, you know. But you also have to remind yourself the feeling that you got when you were doing that thing. For example, I was going to the gym, then I traveled, now I came back and I just don't have the motivation. So kind of close your eyes and imagine and kind of feel that feeling again. You were getting that positive burst when you were going to the gym. So imagine that feeling again within yourself, and somehow it will help you to kind of get the motivation to go back to the gym again. Secondly, always tell yourself that if I had a break, that does not mean I'm going to start from zero, because there will always be a muscle memory, there will always be a memory in our brain of whatever you had done. So whatever you had done in those previous months, it does not go in vain. Memory is still there, the habit building process is still there. It's just that the first step you need to take, and only you can take that first step. You will see that it wouldn't take you to be more consistent, maybe more than few days. So just it's the first step that's always difficult, but only you can take that step.
Of course, it's only us who can do it.
Yes, I know.
Okay, what is the difference between ADHD and getting distracted frequently, Ira?
So actually getting distracted is a symptom of ADHD, but not all getting distractions comes under ADHD. ADHD is a clinical disorder in which there has to be many more symptoms than getting distracted. Most of the time we get distracted because of anxiety, because we are so overwhelmed, there is so much on our schedule. We get distracted because there are so many distractions in the environment. We get distracted because my mind is not present in the moment, because maybe I have depression, maybe my health is not good, maybe I did not sleep well, maybe I did not eat well, so I get distracted. But if you constantly get distracted and that distraction also impacts your work performance, and it's been happening for quite some time, maybe you need to look into it and then you need to see if it's ADHD. But ADHD is much more than getting distracted. And it can be another topic that we can have a training because it's a very big topic.
Definitely, yeah, of course, and very important topic.
Yeah.
Well, The next person would like to know, how do we build confidence that comes from self trust and not from other people's approval?
Yeah, again, Shivani, it's a very interesting question, but it's a very big question. I cannot answer it in one go or in maybe 1 minute because self-confidence is such a big part of our character and it defines so much of our existence throughout our lives. But you cannot be self confident without self respect. And you cannot self respect without self awareness. And you cannot be aware of yourself if you do not spend alone time being quiet. If you do not spend that time reflecting inside, if you do not spend that time to ask yourself, what am I feeling right now? Because self respect only comes from self awareness, and self awareness is what's the self awareness right now? For example, for me, right now I'm thinking about okay, it's 12 o'clock, so I'm a bit overwhelmed because I have to run to a podcast shoot today. So I'm getting late. So that's me being aware, and then me verbalizing that emotion. Okay. So self confidence comes from self respect comes from self awareness. And self awareness can only come the moment you spend time with yourself and looking inside. What do I feel? Why do I feel? What makes me feel this way?
That is such an amazing thought, Ira, and really sorry for keeping you
No
here
worries, no worries.
while you are waiting to leave for your podcast. So, okay, I believe we've reached the time as well, and we will end the session. But before we do, if you would like to give one small change or one small habit that attendees can follow this week onwards, or one
Uh,
small suggestion.
I would say one small suggestion would be do not touch your phone when you get up the first thing in the morning. Get up.
Which most of us do.
Yes, get up, freshen up, take 5 minutes of quiet, prepare your breakfast. Then maybe you can touch your phone because many times we have to. But do not do that the first 15 minutes of your time because when we wake up, actually our brain is moving from different waves. I wouldn't use some terms, but when we are sleeping, we are on a different wavelength. But when we get up, we are on a different wavelength. So that wavelength, when you expose yourself to screen or some sort of worry or a notification or a reply, it just sets your day on a very bad motto.
Yeah.
So just take 5 minutes with yourself when you get up.
Yep. Wow. Thanks a lot, Ira. It was a wonderful, wonderful session. I enjoyed
Thank you,
every bit of
Shivani.
it.
Thank
And
you.
looks like all the attendees enjoyed it too. I'm getting a lot of claps and hearts on the screen flying.
Thank you so
Okay.
much. It means a lot. Sachin, Siddharth, Kiran, Abdul Jabbar, so many people. I loved connecting with you all. And if any one of you can benefit from it, it's amazing. Puneet, Princess, Cecilia, Joel, thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you,
Okay.
Ira. Hope you have
Thank
a
you.
great day ahead and
Thank
good
you,
luck for your
guys.
podcast.
Have a good day. Have a good
You
day,
too.
everyone. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
Mariam. Thank you. Bye.